Hello everyone, I am Bashavdatta Palit from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India. Today I'm going to present our paper N-, a mobility adapted energy efficient ABR video streaming for cellular networks. Let us consider a scenario that we encounter almost every day. Let's suppose that a user is moving from his hometown to the city in which he works. However, he does not want to miss the latest episode of his favorite TV series. So he watches the same while traveling. But then after some time, he notices that his phone is beeping with a low battery signal and he has forgotten to take his power bank with him. Of course, it is evident that his phone is going to get switched off in a while and he will miss his episode. So he's very angry and very disappointed. So we know that online video streaming is currently the most popular mode of entertainment these days. Mobile video traffic accounts for nearly 71% of the total mobile traffic volume. However, video viewing experience is very negatively affected by several factors. Some of these are a poor mobile connection quality, fallback to legacy networks. This event is often encountered by users in India. At one point of time, we experience a 4G reception in our phone, and in the next minute, it can get downgraded to 2G or 3G technology. In addition, there is a problem of excessive battery drainage, which of course escalates under mobility. This is due to the continuous network scanning that the mobile does to remain attached to the network and also due to handovers. To circumvent this problem, we propose a solution N-, which is a mobility adapted energy efficient video streaming algorithm for cellular networks. Before going into the details of N-, let me take you through the energy consumption model used in 4G LTE smartphones. Typically, these smartphones follow an RRC state machine for energy consumption modeling. RRC is a full form of radio resource control, whereby radio resources are time frequency units in LTE. On the left-hand side of this slide, I have shown the RRC state machine followed by LTE, and on the right-hand side is the download trace of a 1 MB file. When there is no active transmission in the phone is in the RRC idle state, which corresponds to around 1200 milliwatt in this case. The moment an active transmission starts, the mobile phone moves from the low power RRC idle state to the high power RRC connected state. This jump is shown over here. This is the state promotion time. During the file download, the mobile stays in the connected state. Once the file download gets over, it first enters into a short discontinuous reception phase and then into a long discontinuous reception phase. During both of these discontinuous reception phases, the mobile probes the network interface once in a while. Once the timer for the long discontinuous reception is over, that is the tail time is over, which is over here, the mobile goes back to the idle state. So our goal is to find out what is the energy consumption at the end devices, and we want to do energy optimization based on intelligent traffic schedule. For this, we need to do a profiling of the end user device energy consumption as a function of fluctuations in the network conditions. We also need to understand the correlation between the traffic generation pattern and energy consumption. For this, we have done extensive throughput and energy consumption measurement based studies in different mobility conditions, such as stationary, slow moving electric vehicles, high speed cars in the highway, as well as in crowded cities, and also in different geographical locations in 5 different cities in India with different demographics, of course. This is our experimental setup. We have used a Monsoon Solutions power monitor for energy measurement and medium budget smartphones, since they are used by a wider section of the society. So we have chosen Moto G5 and Micromax Campus Infinity phones. Additionally, we have selected 4G service providers in India. They are Airtel, Jio, and Vodafone. For the software setup, we need to collect the network data, the GPS data corresponding to location and speed, raw throughput for file download, and the performance of video streaming applications. Network data was collected using a third-party application, Network Monitor Lite, GPS data using GPS Logger, raw throughput data was collected using TCP dump, For this, an HTTP client server program was set up using the smartphone and Amazon Web Server. Lastly, for video streaming applications, we have used YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Sony Live. The entire data set is about 3,962 seconds of valid data point collected over a period of 11 months. The total amount of data is around 50 GB. The figure in this slide shows the setup inside a slow-moving electric vehicle using which we had done our data collection inside the IIT Kharagpur academic campus. The trajectory of one such movement is shown on the left-hand side of this slide. So in this particular experiment, we had downloaded a 6 MB file. The experiment was like this. We started downloading the file and started the vehicle at the same time. The moment the file download was over, we stopped the vehicle, we recorded all the measurements. Then again, we started the file download as well as the vehicle. So the 6 MB file was downloaded over different stretches. Each of these stretches is marked in this figure. It can be seen that over different stretches, the mobile was connected to different technologies. Additionally, there were several handovers. For this, we have shown the figure on the right-hand side top of the slide. So in this figure, we have sorted the average throughput over these stretches in the descending order. We have also shown the number of handovers and the receive signal strength indicator. I would like to draw your attention to two particular stretches. One is stretch number 16 and the second is stretch number 11. Both of these stretches do not report any handover. Their average signal strength is close by and so is the variation in the signal strength. But then the throughput in stretch number 16 is much higher than that in stretch number 11. While analyzing this data, we realized that 16 is a deserted area with a single student's hostel. In comparison, 11 is a crowded marketplace. So definitely crowd contributes to the reduction in the throughput. So this leads us to one of the primary takeaways of our pilot study, which is wireless network condition is best quantified by throughput since it depends on several network parameters and not on received signal strength alone. Some existing works in literature, however, quantify the wireless network condition using the received signal strength only. In parallel, we have also shown the variation in power over the location indices. It is observed that events like handover increases the variation in the signal power, in the received power, energy consumed by the phone, and therefore it contributes to a higher energy consumed. In this particular figure, we have shown a second observation of our work. So on the left-hand side, we have shown the YouTube trace of a 20-minute video. It shows the received signal strength during this 20 minutes time and also the number of packets downloaded. Although in the previous slide, we have quantified wireless network condition using throughput, in this figure, we have shown received signal strength only for convenience. It is seen that the video download is not tuned to the received signal strength. It can be seen that even during good channel conditions, a very small number of packets are downloaded, and even during not so good channel conditions, a higher number of packets are downloaded. This is because in YouTube, there is a concept of playout buffer. The number of packets downloaded depends on a threshold length of the playout buffer. Once this threshold length is reached, then the video chunk download stops. It only starts after the buffer has depleted below this threshold length. To analyze further, we have divided the received signal strength on the secondary y-axis into 9 different bins, each of which 5. It is seen that in the medium range of the received signal strength, the highest active time is spent by YouTube. This corresponds to a lower throughput and therefore a higher energy consumed, because the phone has spent a higher amount of time in the connected state. So we can say that the existing algorithm of video download in tune with the playout buffer length leads to a higher energy consumption. So we propose N dash to improve energy efficiency, which says fetching data during good channel conditions can reduce the total download time. It is going to achieve this by reducing the dwell time in the connected state. Before going further into the details of N-Dash, let me first discuss what is DASH. DASH, or Dynamic Adaptive Streaming over HTTP, is the primary video download protocol followed by most video applications these days. In DASH, there is a content distribution network video server in which all target videos are broken into chunks of fixed playback time and stored in different qualities. At the user end, there is a smart video client and also ABR, or adaptive bitrate streaming algorithms. These algorithms take stock of the network from the network throughput. It either uses the network throughput or the length of the playback buffer, or both, or a combination of both, in order to decide what is the bitrate at which the next chunk is to be downloaded. Accordingly, the video client sends the request to the video server, which responds with the next video chunk at the requested quality. Now, N-Dash is going to tune the buffer length to the perceived throughput. This will allow a higher number of chunks to be downloaded during good channel conditions, even during motion. N-Dash also adapts the bitrate to the perceived throughput, which offers unhindered quality of experience. The USP of N-Dash is accounting for vertical handovers, or the connection to different network technologies. How does N-Dash work? We have divided the time span into slots of fixed length T. At the beginning of each slot, N-Dash predicts the average throughput at time slot n+1, and then it also predicts the playout buffer length using this predicted average throughput. Within each time slot, just before the chunk download, N-Dash predicts what is going to be the chunk quality of the next video chunk. The N-Dash flow therefore goes like this. First, there is a throughput decision engine which uses supervised learning, that is random forest learning, to predict the average throughput. It uses input features such as the received signal strength indicator, associated network technology, handovers, speed, number of neighboring base stations, as well as download link throughput. The predicted throughput is then used by the buffer length decision engine, which also uses the playout buffer available to predict the change in the buffer length. The predicted buffer length is next used by the bitrate decision engine, which also uses other input features such as last chunk throughput, last chunk download time, last chunk bitrate, playout buffer, and next chunk size to predict the bitrate of the next chunk. Both the buffer length decision engine and the bitrate decision engine use actor-critic based reinforcement learning modules. For throughput prediction, we have used random forest learning, as I mentioned earlier. So for training and testing, we have divided the collected data set of 39,662 seconds into 70 and 30%. Instead of fitting the entire data of all the input features into the throughput decision engine, we have done some data engineering and fed only those metrics which best quantify the entire data set. These are mean, median, 25th, 75th, and 90th percentile. The historical information of previous X seconds of various radio-related parameters is used to predict the average throughput for the next T seconds. We have used around 100 estimators for the random forest regressor. Using only the Kharagpur data, it was observed that nearly 95.96% accuracy was achieved with random forest learning. Particularly for historical and prediction window sizes of 30 seconds, the highest accuracy was obtained. So for the rest of the paper, we used the historical and the prediction window to be of 30 seconds. In the buffer length selection model, we have the video player as the environment. I have mentioned the input features earlier. The reinforcement learning is an actor-critic based reinforcement learning module, and the reward function is a weighted function of the difference in energy consumed between the current algorithm and an existing algorithm, as well as a quality of experience. For an existing algorithm, we have used a popular algorithm, BOLA, which is a buffer-based algorithm published in SIGPUMP 2016. For the bitrate selection reinforcement learning module also, the environment is the player and the inputs I have mentioned earlier. Again, we use an actor-critic based recurrent neural network, and the actions are the output bit rates. The reward function is the QoE function, which consists of three quantities: bitrate, rebuffering, and smoothness. Rebuffering is the waiting time before the play of the next video chunk begins, and smoothness is a variable in the bitrate between two successive chunks. It is evident that an increase in rebuffering and smoothness will lead to reduction in quality of experience. For this, we have used PenSafe, which is a published paper in SIGCOMM 2017. Next comes the evaluation methodology. So for throughput prediction evaluation, we have used data sets consisting of 148 traces of throughput collected over the 11 months period, as I said earlier. Each trace length vary between 34 seconds to 3298 seconds. They are formatted to be compatible with the Mahi-Mahi network emulation tool. For the buffer length and the bitrate selection models, 57 dashified videos were used with a total duration of 45 hours. How does N-Dash perform? We have compared N-Dash with some baseline algorithms. Existing algorithms in literature can either be rate-based, buffer-based, hybrid, that is use both rate as well as buffer length, or QoE metric-based. We have used buffer-based and QoE metric-based algorithms as baseline. These are highlighted in this particular slide. It is seen that as far as energy consumption is concerned, N-Dash performs significantly better in comparison with existing algorithms as far as energy consumption is concerned. However, there is some loss in quality of experience. Additionally, the buffer length of N-Dash, that is the playout buffer length of N-Dash, is significantly larger than the existing algorithms. So there can be a trade-off between these three factors. If we look into the individual components of quality of experience, we will observe that there is a significant loss in bitrate. There is also some loss in bitrate variation, but N-Dash gains much as far as stall time is concerned. This is because N-Dash keeps the video downloaded when the channel condition is good. Since these video chunks play one after another, there is less time wasted in downloading the video chunks, which of course improves the stall time. In this way, N-Dash, if we compare with other existing baseline algorithms, offers nearly 1100 seconds of extra playback time when compared to BOLA at much less energy consumption. So we can say that N-Dash definitely offers an energy efficient alternative to existing algorithms. If we look into how the associated technology and vertical handovers impact the performance of N-Dash, we will see that when both of these metrics are considered in the throughput prediction algorithm, N-Dash, the energy consumed by N-Dash is much lower and quality of experience is much higher than when both of these metrics are not considered. So we have designed N-Dash, an energy efficient mobility adapted video streaming algorithm which saves energy, however, with some compromise in quality of experience and also in memory usage, which comes in terms of increased buffer length. Nevertheless, it offers nearly a 29% increase in the video viewing time. As a look ahead, we plan to implement an application which will include N-Dash. We also plan to implement N-Dash for base station assisted energy management in smartphones. Thank you very much.